going on, Jerome's Minnesota Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell had his Victory Monday presser. A lot of Victory Monday pressers this year. Also, the hat model's back. Woo! Also wearing the quarter zip like he's a mid-level accountant at Deloitte. Good times. I just realized I'm also wearing a quarter zip and a Vikings hat. But O'Connell fed the local media jackals, said some stuff and some things. So let's dive on in. Aaron Jones with a quad issue is good to go. O'Connell expects him to participate in practice this week and be ready to rock and roll for Detroit. Jones was held out in the fourth quarter against the Greasy, Grimy Green Bay Packers, but it's okay. We got Cam Akers, who was a hero, man. Pat Jones' second knee got some really positive news. Jones may even be able to be ready to go this week in practice and ready for Detroit, which is good news because that did not look good. And Tucker Kraft is just like, I didn't get him. Yeah. Showdown Sunday in Detroit for the North. So the reporters asked him a lot about the historical perspective and uniqueness, and just like, yeah, I mean, it's important, sure, but it's just another game. And he had a great quote saying that the season goes on whether we win or not, or no matter what happens on Sunday. So I think that's a good perspective. This is a big time game, but also you don't want to get this team so amped up and that they're ready for the Alamo. They just gotta get a business trip. Go take care of business against a divisional foe. It is for all the marbles, but no matter win, lose, or draw, you still got work to do. I think that's a good way of looking at things. I talked about how turnovers versus the Lions has been critical. Detroit complimented them, complete team. Dan has them ready. Dan, hi Dan, knew he had to win. Knew the Vikings had to win a lot of games this year to keep pace, and that's what the Vikings did. And then, major shout out to Jordan Addison, who, I mean, ever since the whole three thing, Addison has stepped up, and he's been one of the best wide receiver twos in the game, maybe the best outside of T. Higgins. Right. And Addison, his footwork, route running has really stood out in the draft process, going back to Pitt, USC. Shout out to Keenan McCardell, where it does seem like a very collaborative effort in that wide receiver room. And I feel like wide receivers, more than any other position, there's a lot of egos there because you're getting the ball, you're making the touchdown passes. If you're not getting the ball, just give me the damn ball, that whole thing. But it really is collaborative. You got and I think it all stems from Jefferson, because if Jefferson was an egotistical a-hole, I think that room would reflect that. But the fact that he is such a team first guy, he's all about winning, he's humble, and just puts in that work. I mean, that sets the tone for everything else. And McCardell is fantastic in that room. Selfishly, I hope that McCardell stays in the fold here with the Vikings, whether it's wide receiver coach or OC, but he definitely deserves to move on up if he wants to. But also talked about how Addison and Naylor, like a lot of times, they are the first read when Jefferson is moving around all over the place as the Vikings offense is playing games with the defense, because Jefferson, like, he does still get a ton of gravity and he completely shifts things. And Addison, you've heard him talk about it before. Hawkinson, he's talked about it before. Like, they know that one of the reasons why they are so open at times is because defenses are always looking, where's 1-8? Yeah. And also with Addison, gotten stronger at the catch point. You see, I mean, Addison's pretty slight. He's like 6 foot, $175, somewhere in there. But he's gotten stronger at the catch point. Got a lot more physical in blocking, and that, for me, that's what's really stood out. Where Addison last year blocking, whether in the run game or on receiver screens, maybe not so much. But 3 has been a dog lately. So big time, major respect to Addison. And also talked about how he's very proud of Sam Darnold, enjoying that moment in the locker room where Darnold got sprayed with the water, hoisted up on shoulders. Also, so I knew from the film that Harrison Phillips was one of the guys that picked up Darnold. You know who the other one was? J.J. McCarthy. Which is just, I don't know if that's recommended, but it says a lot about JJ too. But also talked about how the focus is going 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, and then it sort of became a cliche. But enjoying the journey is important as well. And by no means is this the end goal. It was a waypoint, but just enjoying that moment, enjoying each other's company. It's really important too. Offensive line. So offensive line probably played their best game on Sunday against the Packers. Talked about, props to offensive line coach Chris Cooper. Shout out to the offensive line. Cam Robinson, B.O., Brian O'Neill, as well as that interior really stepped up against a very tough front. Being able to stay balanced is key. And, Kyle talked about even though yards per carry for the runs aren't where you want them to be, being able to run the ball and occasionally rip one off, and having the defense stay focused on that as opposed to just chucking it 60 times a game. That is important. And it's something that he's gotten away from at times, but has been an emphasis over the last couple of months. Also, talked about how would love to keep building leads, except teams are tough. The enemy gets a vote in the National Football League, and happy with how the team made plays at the end when it was needed. And that's what's important too, because I know that it would be great if every game was 40-0. It's not going to happen, especially in the playoffs against good teams. Teams will come back. You have to have the capacity to come back. You have to be able to close other teams out when you lose momentum, and the Vikings have done that. The Vikings have done that several times this year. Also with Daniel Jones, considering adding Jones to the 53. Well, he didn't say that. That was a question posed by a reporter, because Jones has to be on the 53 to have an expiring contract in the offseason for the Vikings to be eligible for a comp pick. It can't just be him on the practice squad. But I talked about how DJ's on his own individual plan and how he walks into that room. J.J. McCarthy's back full speed in meetings. So they got 5 quarterbacks, but also they gave Josh McCown credit 6. So there's 6 quarterbacks in that room, because McCown could probably still sling it. He said, not going to give that credit to Grant Udinsky. Nah. But it's interesting, like 6 quarterbacks in that room, keeping those egos in check, helping each other get better every single day. I love that brain trust that's going on there. Also, talked about how Darnold has complete trust of the team because he sees the work. And I think it was Don Mitchell, Fox 9, she referenced something that Metellus had said, where the defense accepts Darnold as their QB because he's their guy, right? Because Darnold, he sets that example. Like, it's not about ego. It's not about him. It's about putting in that work, whether it's grinding film on the practice field, showing up early, staying late, and then delivering on Sunday. And that's how you gain respect. It's not, I'm the quarterback, I'm the team captain, I'm the guy, blah, blah, blah. No, it's about, hey, don't tell me, show me. And that's what Darnold's been doing. Also, O'Connell's talked about how 1-0 has sort of become a slogan and a meme. Fans yelling at him all the time, 1-0. And it does go back to camp, not just the games, but going into practice, like, hey, defense, hey, offense, trying to go 1-0 today, and getting guys fired up. And it does bring that focused mindset where, living in your 3-foot world, like all of the other noise outside can get to you. Oh, it's a big game. Oh, travel arrangements. Oh, all that stuff. Oh, what if we do this? Blah, blah, blah. No, how about just one play? Focus on one play, one drive, one quarter, one game. Just go from there. It's important. Then talked about how U.S. Bank Stadium has been on fire this season. Memories from this year. Chris Carter, Jake Reed going out for the coin toss with the Randy Moss jersey. It's beautiful. The skull chant in crunch time when the Vikings need a big time stop on defense, when the Vikings need to get something going on offense. That skull chant, woo, let's go. Also, you talked about how the noise on that 97-yard touchdown against the 49ers, huge, monstrous. Even though half of USB was 49ers fans, that speaks to how loud the other half was. So it's good to go. But good news about the 2 Joneses. We're certainly keeping up with them. And, yeah, I mean, I feel like we talked about this in the previous shows too. Like, you would think normally, like, we would just be fired up and just bouncing off the walls. Oh, when 2-0 against the Packers, like, shrinking. But no, it's like this season feels different. And I feel like O'Connell's mindset permeates through the team. It permeates to the fans. And that's where we are, one game at a time. And guess what? The Vikings have themselves set up perfectly. 4 more wins, they win the Super Bowl, right? But one game at a time, and things are in place, but we'll just take it nice and slow. Sure. Anyways, that's it. Victory Monday presser for Kevin O'Connell. Let us know your thoughts, our thoughts, his thoughts. Comment section. You guys know what to do. Skull production value.